Alright guys, EK has sent me first of its kind, an EK Waterblocks pre-built system. What is happening right now? They're actually doing this in collaboration with the folks over at Micro Center as part of their Powerspec product family. Shut up! We're like 5 seconds in. Oh my god! I'm so popular, it's ruining my videos. Sorry. Anyway, this is EK and Micro Center's X600 series. There's actually 3 systems available. So you got the X601, which is the sort of base entry level, which is still packing some pretty hefty hardware. The X602, a little bit higher than that, and then you have the X603. I believe they sent us the flagship X603. So the X600 series are going to be available at all the Micro Center locations across the US. That's 25 different retailers. And the whole goal of these rigs is to bring custom water-cooled systems into the hands of end users for a very competitive price. I would say the entry-level X601 is the best example. If you built the exact same system but just swapped out all the custom cooling hardware for an AIO, the pricing would be extremely competitive, making it a very difficult offer to pass up. The way they're able to do that is by using EK's fluid gaming technology, which is basically aluminum all the things, aluminum fittings, aluminum radiators, water blocks, and so forth, that brings the cost significantly down while still delivering excellent performance. Now, one of the top features of going the pre-built route is that you only have to deal with one company to handle your warranty as opposed to 8 or 10 or even a dozen different companies should you build the system yourself. Micro Center offers a 48-hour warranty on all of these systems, which doesn't sound very great at first glance. But what they mean by that is should you have any issues with your rig, send it back into them, they'll send it back to you completely fixed within a 48-hour window. So get you back into the game or back to working, whatever you decide to do with your rig, and that's pretty cool. I think we're ready to unbox this sucker. This thing is so massive. It looks like I think there's another box in the box. Come on. Oh, that's probably not the best way to cut it. Directly towards my face. Don't do what I'm doing, please. I don't want your parents to sue me. All right. Did I mention that the CPU and the GPU is custom cooled? It's not just one or the other. So that's also a nice selling point for the X601 being hardly more expensive than an AIO. Packaging stuff. Ooh, I love this stuff. Instapack. Ah, I probably shouldn't do that in case I need to send it back. Ugh. Oh yeah, I forgot. They're using a case that I just used for a recent build. My workstation build, actually. The Lian Li PCO11 Dynamic, which was done and designed in collaboration with Der Bauer, world famous overclocker. He's a modder as well, I believe. So their top of the line system includes a Core i7-9700K, an Asus Strix Z390E gaming motherboard, an NVIDIA RTX 2080, 16 gigs of DDR4 memory, a 500 gig solid state boot drive, which Jay said in his video, I think he reviewed the same system actually, that it's actually an NVMe drive, but we can confirm on that in a moment too. And you can see the rest of the specs there, yada, yada, yada. Now, if you buy one of these systems from Micro Center directly in their store, it'll come pre-filled, 100% ready to go, plug and play, done deal. However, since they shipped it to moi, I'm guessing it's empty and we gotta fill it ourselves. Also because I watched Jay's video and he ruined all the surprises for me. Okay, first time setup instructions. Power supply cables, looks like a fully modular unit, whatever it is. More accessories, I'm guessing, for the motherboard. Yeah. Got your AC power cords, some extra SATA cables in here, a little tiny noisy VRM fan, which you should not install, Wi-Fi adapter, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay. Yeah, it's probably good they didn't pre-fill this. Now, what's also kind of neato about this is that if you wanted more of a DIY experience, you can actually go to Micro Center and buy the case by itself along with the DIY cooling kit that has all the stuff you see here and put it together yourself. That would also give you the flexibility to choose any of the core components you wanted to suit your needs if the preset configurations they have for you do not work for some reason. And just feel right click. Oh yeah, that's a heavy system. That's good. It means it's powerful. Unless it's like a file server with a bunch of hard drives, then maybe not so much. All right, PCO11 Dynamic, absolutely gorgeous case. We've got a bunch of peel here. Woo, yeah. All right, let's take the side panel off, which with this case means you first have to take the top panel off. This slides up like so. Okay. Easy does it there. Instapack. Let's make sure it's all intact. Hey, look at that. Woo, that looks pretty good. They did a pretty good job, I would say. And I love this distribution block at the front. This really sets it apart from even something that you could do yourself. Look at that. Let me take the nasty plastic off. Oh God, it's so good. So good. Oh. I'm gonna take the backside panel off as well, just to confirm that there is no SATA SSD. We got no SATA based drives in here, at least no 2.5-inch drives, so I'm guessing that the one they popped in the M.2 slot, it's gotta be NVMe, right? Let me get a little screwdriver. Okay, now I gotta play a guessing game. Is it On the top slot or the bottom slot? Because it looks like there's two. I'm gonna guess the top. Here's one screw. Oh, I forgot to tell you what power supply this is. Oh, it is RGB, and it's one of Micro Center's Powerspec units. Looks like it's 850 watts. Cool. All right, let me get this other guy here. All right, moment of truth. It's yeah, look at that, 970 Evo Plus, 500 gig. NVMe M.2 drive. Beautiful. Okay, that's all we needed to know. Back on you go. Let me adjust the camera for you a second here. All right, I just want to take a second to appreciate the rest of this build, all right, before we actually fill it up. So we've got a transparent CPU water block, which looks fantastic. I really like that they went with Trident Z RGB DDR4 modules. They could have cheaped out, but they went pretty premium there. I'm sure those have some decent Samsung B dies on them as well. The cable sleeving looks great. It's black and white, very color neutral, which I'm sure they did intentionally because I believe there is RGB elements in this system apart from the RAM. It's also PET sleeving as opposed to paracord, so it keeps its shape very well. Very high quality stuff there. You have two more mounts for SSDs at the bottom. There's also two 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drive trays at the back of the case by the power supply. The GPU block is nice and sleek. It's got what looks to be RGB lighting on the side here, which we'll confirm in a moment. And we've got three 120mm EK Vardar fans that are fixed to the only radiator in the system, ejecting hot air out the top of the case. They're also the only fans in the system. And my first reaction whenever I see a high-end system with both the CPU and the GPU blocked up with only a single radiator is, oh no, that's not enough. It's gonna get too hot and overheat and blah, blah, blah. But I have a feeling EK knows what they're doing. They've been in the game a while, and from the looks of it, it looks like they've already done some pre-testing because I do see a bit of moisture in these tubes. But yeah, temperatures are something that we'll validate in just a sec. So why don't we go ahead and fill this guy up? Did I miss anything? I think let's fill it. Let's fill it up. Filler! All right, so first things first, we gotta remove our front panel on the PCO11 Dynamic, which slides up just like that. And bear in mind, you have to have the top panel removed first in order to remove any of the other panels on this case. The fill port is gonna be right here at the top of our distribution block, and there's a drain port as well at the very bottom. So we wanna make sure that that's tightened, and I actually went around and made sure all of the fittings in the entire system were solid and tight. It's not that I don't trust EK or anything, but just wanted to make sure that none of them accidentally got loose in shipping or something like that. I wanna take out this fill port cap, which you'll need a coin or something similar. All right, so to fill the loop, I'm using some distilled water inside of this fill bottle that EK sent over a couple weeks back actually for Hotline 2. This did not come included with the system, bear that in mind. I would recommend something like this with a really thin nozzle if you're gonna be filling one of these X600 systems, mainly because there's nowhere for air to escape as you're filling up the loop. So the nice thing about this is since the nozzle's really thin, it sticks in the fill port right there, but it doesn't completely clog it so that air is able to actually escape while you're filling the loop. The problem Jay was having when he initially tried to fill his with an actual fitting and a funnel with soft tubing attached to it was that air had nowhere to go, and so the water was getting backed up and it wasn't really filling properly. So I'm just gonna poke this in here. We're just gonna go ahead and start filling her up. You wanna make sure that you have no external power cables plugged in while you're doing this. This is actually the first system I've worked with that has a distribution block. All the tubes in the system are actually connected through the distribution block in some way. So it's kind of like a tubing hub, for lack of a better term. So as we fill it up to the top here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the bottle. Now we're pretty much ready to power the system on. So once we do that, the pump's gonna run and it's gonna essentially distribute the liquid throughout the loop. So this water level is gonna probably go down pretty quickly, and I'm gonna shut the system off when it's about here, before it reaches the pump, so that the pump doesn't dry run and accidentally damage itself. We're gonna keep doing that until there's no more air in the loop and we're left with just fluid. So let's go ahead and do our first boot cycle here. Double boot. Look at that RGB, so sexy. right, so we've been trolling around the city of Los Santos here in GTA 5 for about 20 minutes now. So our CPU and GPU are pretty much heat soaked. They're about as hot as they're gonna get. CPU is running stock, so we're at 4600 megahertz as our turbo frequency. That's probably on 1 or 2 cores at the moment, but you can see the temperatures there are very respectable, hovering in the 60s. I haven't really seen it get much hotter than 70C, which is a really nice spot to be on our 8-core CPU. The GPU, however, is running overclocked. I dialed in a 150 megahertz core clock offset and a 750 megahertz memory clock offset. That's taking our core clock to over 2 gigahertz, and yet our GPU staying pretty darn cool. Just hit 62C right there. Very happy to see that our single radiator, while it seems maybe a little underwhelming at first, is actually doing a fine job of keeping everything cool with those 3 Vardar fans. Our frame rates aren't too shabby either, considering that we're at 2560 by 1440 with pretty much every setting maxed out, with the exception of MSAA at 2x, I believe. So you can see right there as we're rolling through the streets, getting around 120, 130 FPS depending on the scene, but definitely nothing to scoff at. A note about the Vardar fans though, they're very quiet. I can hardly hear the system running at full load. I think the pump is barely audible, but the fans are just so quiet, and the system's only about 1.5 feet away from me. So altogether, we're looking at a very powerful, cool, and quiet system. So there it is, people. The EK Waterblocks and Micro Center Powerspec X600 family of pre-built water-cooled systems. My God, and can I just say, these things are beautiful. Like the distribution block at the front and just how all the tubes are so straight and parallel. It really arouses me. You guys let me know if you feel the same. I mean, as far as custom loop pre-built systems go, this would have to rank towards the top of the list, I would have to imagine, as far as what's on the market currently. It's a really nice system. So you guys let me know, do you feel the same way? Thoughts and concerns down below. As always, toss a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and get subscribed for more tech stuff coming at you really soon. Guys, thanks again for watching. Have a good one, and I will see you all in the next video.